What's up? What's up? Good evening. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Let's go. All right, I'll give it a minute or so, get a few more people in here on the chat, and we'll be ready to go. So, I'm on the couch watching football. Just saw the Steelers-Lions. Steelers beat the Lions. I'll have more on the rest of the games and all the action that went on there. Tuesday on the 3-point blitz. Daniel Berry, happy Sunday evening. Thanks for stopping by. So I'm going to give another minute or so, get a few more people in here, then I'll start talking about the Eagles itself. So, yeah, we saw, I'm not talking about this more on Tuesday, just briefly, but we're still waiting on a few people to come on in. We saw Steelers just beat the Lions. Lions, they're technically not eliminated yet because the Packers could lose 2 straight. Lions could win 2 straight. That would put the Packers 9-7-1, Lions at 10-7, but that remains to be determined. But it's a long shot for the Lions. So that's that. We just got done with that. I put on NBC. I got it on mute. So waiting for, just going to look at the highlights while I talk to you guys. And, that's pretty much going to be the deal right here. That's why I'm not showing my face right now, because for that reason right now. But yeah, I'm still going to chat with you guys. This will be audio stream talking about the Philadelphia Eagles, baby. All right, we'll get into, which we're going to get into in one more minute, talk about the Eagles and what they did last night, taking care of business, and I'll turn away because I don't know why Chris Sims and Jason Garrett are on the Sunday Night Countdown show. Only reason I got it on in the background is for the highlights. And then we got Star Wars stopping by. Can we do good in playoffs? That's an interesting question, man, because, and while we did win 2 straight, I'm psyched about winning the NFC East. We got to be real, too. This was the Commanders and the Raiders. We haven't had, like, a real convincing win since we beat the Lions. Well, really, since we beat the Packers, really. Because even the Lions aren't looking that great this year. They're looking very meh this year. So, I mean, not to take anything away from our success, but our recent games against, good teams like the Chargers and the Bears, we kind of struggled in those ones. So that's going to be interesting come playoff time. So yes, we are in the playoffs. We clinched the NFC East, and I'm thrilled about that. Make no mistake, though. But that playoff one, the Eagles are going to have a lot more work on their hands than just beating teams like the Commanders and the Raiders come playoff time. They're going to have to switch. Basically, don't do what they did in that 3-game losing streak. The reckless turnovers, the poor play calling, and yeah, they got to get away from that come playoff time. I mean, yeah, you play, yes, and yes, we've won 2 straight, but but we got to change that up come playoff time. And it's cool we won the NFC East because it's been since the 2003 and 2004 regular seasons, respectively, we've had a repeat NFC East championship, both as a team and in our division, period. Because, right, folks, yeah, I mean, some of you guys probably already know it, but 2005 to 2024, every year was a different team winning the NFC East. It would be like the Giants, the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Giants, the Cowboys, the Eagles, the Giants, Washington, Eagles, Cowboys, Washington, Cowboys, Eagles. It was continuing. Cowboys, Washington, Cowboys, Eagles, Eagles. Finally. And that's what's cool about it. So we made history to some degree, becoming the first team in the NFC East to win back-to-back years in over 2 decades. So salute to that one right there. For some Eagle haters, this may not seem like a big deal. Oh, it was the Raiders. It was the Commanders. But guess what? It was the NFC East, and it was back-to-back years, something that hasn't been done over 2 decades. So, oh yeah, we got something big going on. Speaking of history, though, I just saw Myles Garrett is tied for the single-season sack record. I know that's off subject, but just putting that out there. That'll make for a fun discussion Tuesday on the 3-point blitz. But this one's going to be about the Eagles. So the 3-point blitz, if those of you guys don't really see it much, that's more where I recap the week as a whole football-wise. This one's going to be dedicated to talking about the Birds and winning the NFC East and what happened yesterday. I mean, you can say that, oh, it was just the Commanders. And yeah, I know technically that is true, but at the end of the day, you guys thought we collapsed. Let's be real. You want to talk about, let's get off that Eagles collapse first. All right, you know who collapsed? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They were sitting at 6-2. Now they're sitting at 7-8. They're all but out of the playoffs. They technically could still win that division, but nah, man. You gotta give me a break on that. The Panthers, no, that's a whole other story. But don't give us that collapse, because we didn't go from 6-2 to 7-8 with like a small percentage chance of winning our division. We clinched our division. We still got to 10 wins on the season. Something the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won't be doing no matter the outcome of their next 2 games. So I don't want to hear that collapse. And you want to know who else collapsed? The Indianapolis Colts. Now, I know, unfortunately, what happened to Daniel Jones is a shame. It's a shame for Shane Steichen, but the point I'm getting at is I don't want to hear that Eagles collapsed anymore, all right? Nah, we took care of our business. We won the NFC East. Say what you want to say about it, but we won that division, period. Say, oh, you split with the Cowboys like you always do. Oh, you beat the Buccaneers. Well, that ties into our point about the Eagles not collapsing like the Bucs. But guess what? We beat the Packers, who are likely going to make the playoffs. So don't say we didn't beat anybody. We have that on our track record. And when it comes to the AFC, we did. I mean, yeah, so now we did take a few losses to good teams like the Broncos and the Chargers and the Bears. Yes, that's true, but guess what? I mean, sure, the Giants lost, but we got our revenge in the rematch. We beat them. We did what we had to do. We won the games we needed to, all right? So we are up to 10 wins on the season. I don't want to hear that. And don't give us that we didn't beat anyone. Remember the Packers game? I mean, granted, it was an ugly offensive game, but the defense still showed up and did what they had to. And last night against Washington, we showed up, all right? We ultimately won that game, all right? Yeah, it looked like real ugly in the first half. But to be fair, I can partially blame that on Jake Elliott, too, which I know this is supposed to be a celebratory stream, but I got to get on that one real quick. Look, while I'm happy the Eagles won, I got to say something about Jake Elliott real quick. Dude, it's time to cut him as quickly as possible, dude. I'm sorry, but he's been a hindrance for us these past couple weeks. He's missed 6 field goals in the last 5 games. And this comes to, and you factor in the fact he was starting to fall off. His accuracy fell off last season. It didn't really matter at the end of the day because we won the Super Bowl, but so we kind of put that to the side, but here we are again 1 season later. It's happening again. The accuracy's going down. He's missing kicks frequently, which goes back to last season. So I don't want to hear it anymore. Okay, look, at Jake Elliott, man, we got to find a new kicker. I mean, look, Jake Elliott, thank you for some of your game winners he made for us throughout the years, but when it comes to my assessment of players, I'm like Pat Riley, the basketball coach. Those of you guys that follow who know who Pat Riley is, you know he was the type of coach that always thought with the what have you done for me recently mentality. And that's where I'm at when it comes to Pat Riley. Or not Pat Riley, when it comes to Jake Elliott. I'm on that Pat Riley mindset of, look, what have you done lately? Remember, that was the same coach who traded Shaquille O'Neal 2 years after they won a championship with him because he was showing decline as a player. He cut Dwayne Wade later in 2016 offseason when he knew that Dwayne Wade was starting to decline. So I kind of look at that way when it comes to a section of players, and that's Jake Elliott. Yes, he did all these game-winning field goals for us in the past, but what has he done lately? He's done it. What has he done? Missed field goals. Matter of fact, we were going for it a lot. And part of the reason we've been going for it a lot this season is because Elliott's accuracy's declined. So if anything, look, I understand why the Eagles go for it a lot. Now, the play calling, sometimes when they design those fourth down conversions, is questionable, but I get why they're doing it because of the kicker. So it's like, the Eagles got to find a new kicker, plain and simple. So I wanted to get that out the way, just get that negativity part out the way, because this is really supposed to be praising the Eagles. So yeah, it would be nice if we could pick up a kicker this week or next week. Just cut Elliott, bring someone in. Who says you can't do that? Teams do that all the time with kickers during the season. I mean, at this point, he's Blair Walsh 2.0 at this point. You remember Blair Walsh from Minnesota. Remember early 2010s? He had that good start to his career. Then he had that miss in the playoffs, and he just completely did a 180 the opposite direction, and his career faded. Jake Elliott's turning into the 2020s version of Blair Walsh real quick. So I would cut him. You gotta find somebody as a kicker. Especially if come playoff time, that could cost us. So just wanted to get that out the way. But that was part of the reason we were losing in the first half. Or at the end of the first half, we were down 10-7 going in the second because of those missed kicks by Elliott. But then, we had it started the turnaround with that long drive early in the second half. Remember, we had that long drive. Initially, we had a fourth down. Initially, there was an interception, but it was called back. And then we were able to move the ball. We finally got a touchdown out of it. And then once we got that touchdown to go ahead in the second half, everything just turned around from there. Everything clicked in the second half. Something we haven't seen a lot of this season, and it happened here. So, yeah, by the time it was over, Jalen Hurts had 2 touchdowns. And he also, so even Tank Bigsby, Saquon actually had a good game here. He had 132 yards on 21 carries. He had a touchdown. He had a 48 long. Even Tank Bigsby got in on the action a little bit. 4 carries, 37 yards, and a TD. And Tank Bigsby, he's the best least, out of all the players we least utilize, like the Will Shipleys, Jahan Dotsons, Tank Bigsby's of the world, out of all those guys in the offense, Tank Bigsby's the best, least utilized player on this offense this season. I'll say that. So I don't know. Yeah, second half though, we did what we were supposed to do. So I appreciated that. So that was great. And then you also got Star Wars talks about Brandon Graham as well, seeming like he still has it. And to some degree, yeah. In that game, we kind of saw it. But what can we say about this game? Besides, the Eagles did what they had to do. I mean, it's not always about how you start in life. It's how you finish. Come second half, we blew the brakes off them. And don't let the final score fool you. I know it says 29-18 was the final, but we know that last touchdown came in garbage time. It made it look a little more competitive than it really was, but yeah, exactly. It was a blowout in that second half. Eagles dominated and just took over the game, and you could forget all about the first half. But yeah, I'm happy. So yeah, Eagles did what they had to. All the talk from, all the stuff, all the ideas from the haters, all gone. I mean, going into the game, I said there was a chance it could be more competitive than the Raiders game, which it was because, division rivalry games sometimes are tighter than you expect, even when one team's clearly better. And by the time it was over, this wasn't even tight at all. This wasn't even close. Eagles did what you would think they would do. They did what a 9-5, now 10-5 team should do against a 4-10, now 4-11 team, and that's dominate by the time it was over. I mean, forget about all the forget the first half mishaps. I mean, you had the one fumble early, but hey, we held them to a field goal. We got a punt from them, got a touchdown, all that was over. But come second half, that 17 play drive, that really wore down their defense and pretty much broke them. And that was what was awesome about that third quarter. We pretty much broke them with that one drive, 17 plays. down the field because over time, slowly but surely, they started to tire out. And then once we got the interception right after that, we went right down the field, brought their battered defense back on the field, and scored on them again, and then took over from there. And that's what was great. I mean, yeah, that drive, that long drive, that was a little agonizing at first moments. It was like, yo, what the hell? Why is it taking so long to move down the field on this team? But hey, we got the score. Once we got the score, it was like, well, once we got the interception, that's when I started to get more confident. Like, all right, now it's starting to look like it should. I mean, yeah, I was a little anxious, a little nervous watching that game. But once we got that first interception after taking the lead in the second half, and I'm like, all right, now we're moving. Now we got momentum rolling in our favor. Now we're not surrendering it. So, yeah, that's when I knew that's when I knew it's like, all right, now we got this. Now we got this. And sure enough, we did. And now, NFC's champs back-to-back years. And even though I know these are teams like just the Raiders and the Commanders, there's a part of me, I know that these are just simple games against easier teams. But you know what? I'm hoping that this game somehow set the momentum. Like maybe these games, we're winning these games, could get the confidence going a little bit. And maybe that could help out because that's kind of what happened to us last year. Now, I'm not saying we're necessarily going to go win the Super Bowl this year like we did last time. But you can remember last year, we were kind of, it looked like we were going to be mediocre. Then we had the bye week. We came back. We beat the Browns. Then we blew out the Giants. And yes, it was the Giants, but there was just something about blowing out the Giants. And then beating the Bengals and just dominating their defense. That just got momentum going. Even though, yeah, the Giants were a bad team, still are. Bengals were a trash defense, still are this year. There was just something about those games that helped build momentum and get some confidence going with the team. It's because sometimes those easy games do that for you. Like, take the New England Patriots this year. Look at how all of a sudden they've had some easy games, but look at how those wins against those teams like the Dolphins and the Browns started building momentum for where they're at now. They're a top team in the AFC this year. So sometimes those easy games can build that momentum. That's what happened in 2017 with the Eagles. When they were beating on teams like the Bears and the Broncos and the 49ers that year, it helped build momentum for a playoff run. I mean, you're hoping that maybe this year with these team games like the Raiders and the Commanders, that does the same for us this go-around. And you're kind of hoping with Buffalo struggling against Cleveland, that might open the door for an 11th win. So maybe you're hoping that this plays out for something different. So maybe you're hoping that this turns momentum around, that these wins help us build momentum, but we still got to wait and see on that one. So, but with that being said, don't tell me that any of these games are meaningless because they say, oh, you just beat this team. You just beat this team. We've seen that all the time. People try to tell us, oh, you just beat this team. You just beat this team. It was just the Commanders. It was just the Giants. It was just the Vikings. But then again, when you think about it, you got to remember, we were beating teams like the Vikings and the Giants. Then we kind of went back to that complacent offense against the Packers and the Lions. Our defense really helped us out in those games. And our defense gave us a chance against the Raiders. And then against the Chargers, and ultimately the offense didn't do it. So it's just a lot of questions, but there's still a lot of questions. But in this one, hey, we got we did what we had to do in this one. I mean, Barkley, it's crazy. So much for Washington, man. What? Man, this is not the same team we beat last year in the NFC Championship game at all, because this year it's a 180, but hey, it's crazy. But let's talk about it. It's crazy how sometimes people will come up with the biggest, like sometimes haters come up with the craziest and most delusional things you can think of. They do. They be coming up with all sorts of crazy stuff to say. Remember when they wanted Tanner McKee to start, right? After that Monday night game against the Chargers, they're like, nah, you got to start Tanner McKee. He could do better than Hurts. He could do better. Tanner McKee's a real quarterback. He's got potential. Oh, my gosh. Don't even get me started on that, all right? So for those of you guys that talked about Tanner McKee, oh, boy. Have you seen Jalen Hurts the last 2 games? Do you really still want to push that Tanner McKee narrative? All right. Jalen Hurts went out there in that game, threw 2 touchdown passes, mind you. And he did what he had to do. On top of Saquon Barkley being excellent in this game. Jalen Hurts did really good too. He completed 22 out of 30 passes, only took 2 sacks, but he said 2 touchdown passes. So I don't want to hear any of that. Oh, Tanner McKee should start. Tanner McKee, oh, please. Have you not been paying attention the last 2 games? I know Jalen Hurts had that debacle against the Chargers, but then again, name me one quarterback in NFL history, one starting quarterback that didn't have a bad game. All right? Name me just one. And yeah, exactly. Every quarterback's had a bad game. And we've seen the last 2 games, Jalen Hurts has helped us as Eagles fans forget about that game against the Chargers. Leave that in the past. Move on. Come on, like I said, every quarterback had a bad game. Jalen Hurts had a dreadful game 2 weeks ago. But in the 2 weeks since, he's put that behind him. He's helped lead the Eagles to 2 straight victories. Say what you want to say about the teams we were playing. And he's helped us win those games. And if you guys want to say, well, I got concerns about Hurts as the quarterback in the playoffs, if you're going to say that, you really should have concerns about the whole team. And to be fair, I have my concerns about the Eagles come playoff time. I have my gripes that I'm going to talk about later about what they're going to do come playoff time. Yes. So, but that's more about the team. I'm not throwing that out just on the quarterback. That's a team issue right there. And for everyone that just, here, I love it. I love to see Jalen Hurts have these excellent games to shut his haters up. All right, I don't care if you want to say, well, Joe Burrow's a better individual quarterback or Lamar Jackson's a better individual quarterback. Okay, that may be true, but you can't tell me Jalen Hurts isn't a top 10 quarterback, okay? I don't want to hear that, oh, he's just a one-play guy. Did he look like a one-play guy yesterday? All right, those 2 touchdowns, some of those conversions, you think that was a tush-push guy? No. He didn't do... Jalen Hurts didn't score with the tush-push yesterday. He did it with his arm. Throwing the ball. He did it last week a couple times. Throwing the football. He didn't just... So don't give me that he's good for one play crap. And don't give me that, oh, well, they won the game because they were going against terrible teams. They won 2 straight against easy teams. And that's true, but you got to keep it consistent across the board. The thing, to all the Jalen Hurts naysayers that are going to sit there and say he only had good games because they're against this team and this team, did you forget? Did you forget last year he was the Super Bowl MVP in the biggest game of the season on the biggest stage? Did you forget that? Did you forget he was near MVP? The Super Bowl 57 run. Did you forget Jalen Hurts was given props for an excellent performance in Super Bowl 57 despite falling short. And then on top of that, 2 years later, back in the big game, he was the MVP. Did we forget all that? Did we? I know we didn't. So I don't want to hear that. And again, Jalen Hurts, with the pressure starting to mount, you know people were getting on him after that Chargers game. And what did he do? He just took his time, bounced back with 2 wins. Easy, granted, against easy teams, mind you, but hey, he took advantage of his opportunities to redeem himself, and he's done that. Now, Buffalo next week is going to be a bit of a different story. It's going to be a much tougher game going against the Buffalo Bills than it will be the Raiders and then the Commanders, but hey, Eagles now got some momentum going in their favor. There is at least a chance in that game, maybe to get up to 11 wins, and depending on how that goes after that, we might rest our starters the final week of the season. We might, but that remains to be determined. We still got to wait and see. I believe against Buffalo, we play our starters. We go out there, try to win, try to get the 12 wins, maybe hope that the Bears take an L and that maybe there's still something to play for the final week of the season. So maybe we do that. So I'm thinking we still play our starters next week against Buffalo with something on the line, but ultimately we still got to wait and see. But I think most likely week 18 will probably be most likely resting our starters, maybe. So I think this will probably be the only time against the Commanders we actually play our starters. So I know we play them again in 2 weeks, but there is a chance we're probably going to be resting our starters then. So we probably might not be playing our guys in that one. Anyway, so we ultimately got to wait and see. But in this time, though, we went out there against Washington, and we beat what was left of them. Marcus Mariota looked like what we kind of knew he was. A mediocre at best backup quarterback. And let's be real, Mariota was never that good of a starter to begin with. That's ultimately why the Tennessee Titans replaced him with Ryan Tannehill, of all people, who was slightly better than Mariota at his peak, but even then, Tannehill was never truly a star quarterback. He was just a game manager. And then you saw Marcus Mariota, who's fallen to backup. You saw right there, yeah, buddy, there's a reason you've been a backup. And notice Mariota hasn't really been able to salvage Washington at all season. Remember that game against the Giants that during that collapse, we put Mariota in, and first pass, he throws an interception? Remember that? That's when we kind of knew, like, you know what? Yeah, maybe there's a reason Mariota bounced around from team to team. And in Washington, yeah, last night, Eagles defense did their thing, particularly in the second half, exposed Marcus Mariota as just a mediocre journeyman backup. And, nice completion. It's because when I'm looking up at the Ravens-Patriots game, it just started right now. So it was only the first play. Jackson had a completion to Flowers, and that's it. So it's just that one play thus far. But back to the Eagles, man. Yeah, I mean, Washington, what did they have going for them? Even McLaurin and Samuel, those two, wasn't even good enough, man. Wasn't even good enough against them, man. So look, man, we did what we had to do. So that's crazy now. It's ironic. It's funny now. Think about it. We beat 2 weeks ago, we beat last year's backup, Kenny Pickett. And then last night, we defeated our backup from 2 seasons ago in Mariota. Ain't that crazy? So, Eagles showed Kenny Pickett and Marcus Mariota why they're backup QBs. But, I mean, on a serious note, though, yeah, we took care of business and did what we needed to against those teams. So, man, hey. Kenny Pickett, thank you. You're probably thanking us for the ring. We feel like we owe you one. Well, not really. But, yeah. I'm sure you had fun riding along the journey with last year's Super Bowl. But, back to reality, Kenny Pickett. Have fun as a backup. Marcus Mariota, you had your fun moment against us in 2018 with the Titans. And that overtime game years ago with that Corey Davis touchdown game winner. Okay, but you had your one season with us. You got to be part of our collapse. You did nothing to help us. Oh, Flowers again for a first down. Oh, Ravens are moving the ball downfield. Oh, shit. Ravens are they're out here playing with a statement on the opening drive. That's Lamar Jackson, 2 first downs to Zay Flowers. He's got him in Patriots territory right now. All right, way to go. I mean, hey, Ravens are playing with some heart out there. I give them that. But with the Eagles, man, I mean, look, I do have my doubts come playoff time. I do. And Derrick Henry just scored a touchdown. Well, that was quick. But yeah, as far as the Eagles go, I still have my doubts. Because then come playoff time, you're most likely looking at, I think most likely we're looking at the number 3 seed right now. Like the way, even though we still got 2 more weeks left, we still got to see what happens tomorrow night with the Niners against the Colts, which I think the Niners will probably win. They'll probably stay where they're at, but point being is I probably see most likely Niners winning that game, and the Bears won, so they still have 4 losses. We have 5. Seattle has 3. Rams have 4, but they're a wild card because they're in the same division as us. So we'll ultimately have to see what happens, but I mean, I'm thinking right now, like, yeah, I could see easily with the number 3 seed, because I'm like, yeah, it'll probably be the Seahawks or Rams with the 1 seed. Most likely the Seahawks since they won Thursday night. They'll most likely be the 1 seed. I could see the Broncos being... Yeah, no, not the Broncos. Hold on, I'm losing my mind. Hold on a second. My train of thought's going all over the place. Give me 1 second. Yeah, so I see Bears 2, us 3. Probably the Panthers or Bucks. Most likely the Panthers, then they beat the Bucks 4 seed. That would probably make the Rams the 5 seed. Probably the 49ers 6. So when we're most likely looking at a 49ers game in the opening round. Well, I think we're most likely looking at the 49ers there in the opening round, us beating them. And I see that. I see that being likely. But we still got to wait and see. We got to see what the schedule. But the Niners, I see the Niners beating the Colts. And with the Packers taking 2 losses, they're at the 7th seed. I think most likely that leads to the Niners winning 2 straight games. So I see that happening right there. But hey, man, I mean, we still gotta wait and see. So Niners probably beat the Colts, and who are they gonna play after that? Who do the Niners play? They already played. Wait, do they? I think do the Niners and Seahawks play each other again? Oh wait, hold on. I'm gonna pull up the AFC. I'm gonna pull up the schedule the next 2 weeks, try to get a better idea of what I could see happening. Oh, one moment. So I'm gonna look at the schedule real quickly, try to look at the other teams that are in the playoff mix, like the Packers and the 49ers, see what they have on the schedule, try to get a better idea of what I could see. I still most likely see us as the 3 seed, probably having to go. Probably be us 3, Niners 6, probably the Rams or Seahawks 5. I'm still I mean, it's not official yet, but I'm thinking that's most likely going to be the case, though. I mean, so I could see that being a possible home matchup, and that would be a revenge game from 2 seasons ago when they destroyed us and pretty much started our collapse 2 seasons ago, but I don't even. Yeah, but that would be so that's a revenge game right there, but I am a little bit concerned about how we'd go against the Niners, though. Particularly, how would our offense handle them? That's the big concern right there. So I want to see real quickly. So let's see. Week 17 schedule. You got. Who do they got? Let's see. The Niners got. Oh, Seahawks got the Panthers. That could probably be a win for the Seahawks. And then Rams play the Falcons. They're probably winning that game. And then Jaguars Colts. I probably see the Jaguars. And then Buccaneers Dolphins. I could see the Buccaneers winning that game. Yeah, Buccaneers, Dolphins. Oh wait, I mean Tampa Bay. Right, but who? What about the Niners? Niners play the Bears. That could be a toss-up right there. That's going to be an important game to decide playoff implications. The Bears and 49ers. And like I said, then Seahawks, Panthers, and that's interesting. So that's going to have implications on the standings as well. Then the final week, you got. Who is it? I'm trying to think. Oh, Seahawks 49ers play the final week of the season. Because it's going to be mostly divisional games that week. So, yeah, because nowadays, every week, now the final week's always divisional matchups. So, yeah, I could see that. Oh, I see. Yeah, Niners, Seahawks. That's going to be a big one in determining the standings. And Buccaneers, Panthers, that could be for the division right there. But we got to wait and see. But I'm still thinking it's most likely going to be. I still think the Niners are most likely going to be the 6th seed, but we got to wait and see. It depends on what happens the next 2 weeks. Do the Seahawks get upset by the Panthers? Well, either way, I still think the Niners are getting the 6th seed. So I'm looking at Eagles 49ers being most likely the opening matchup, regardless of what happens with the rest of it. I'm not really that worried about them, but yeah, I think the Niners schedule is going to play out with them getting the 6th seed. So I'm prepared for the Eagles versus the 49ers in the opening round. So I'm looking forward to that one right there. And right now, I'm just looking up at the Patriots Ravens game. So I'm kind of looking at that live while I talk to you guys. All right, first, there goes Drake May to Hunter Henry, incomplete. So far, it's 7-0 Ravens, and Patriots moving the ball downfield. But I think I pretty much said all I was going to. I mean, I'm thinking most likely, like I said, the 49ers, but I got to wait and see how it happens, though. We'd have to actually wait till it's official. But as of right now, man, cheers to the Philadelphia Eagles winning that game, defeating the Washington Commanders, and cheers to winning the NFC East back-to-back years. I mean, it's not pretty, it hasn't been a good season, but hey, it's winning the NFC East. And let's face it, though, too. Even with, we were upset after the 3-game losing streak, but let's be real with this, the Eagles in general, from 2017 onward, we've been to the playoffs all but one season during that stretch, had a winning record all but one season, made 3 Super Bowls since that stretch, won 2 out of the 3. So it's been pretty smooth since Super Bowl 52 for us. So I don't want to get all the... So yeah, even with some of the we have had highs and lows during that stretch, sure, but all teams do. But guess what? This past decade, really, I mean, you take away that 2015 season, that 2016 so-so season, it's been the best stretch in Eagles franchise history of the Super Bowl era. We've won 2 Super Bowls. We've had 3 Super Bowl appearances in that stretch. Winning record all but one season since Super Bowl 52. I mean, dude. And we're going back to the playoffs again. At least that gives us plenty to be happy about. I mean, geez, even with, I know maybe we feel like this team could be better this season, and I do too. I do feel like we could be better, and certainly the play calling could improve. So, that's the one thing I'm a bit, I've been critical of that too myself. I've been critical at times, but to be fair, though, this is also something to be happy about. We followed up a Super Bowl season by winning the division again. Sure, even with some of the losses we've had. We lost Darius Slay during the offseason. We lost Mika Becton to the Chargers. We lost Williams. We lost, who else did we lose? We lost one of the Milton Williams, was it? To the Patriots, who are playing right now. But guess what? We still came back after made the play and won the division again. And May just got picked. Speaking of the Patriots, but guess what? We've been there. Like, we've had 2 Super Bowls since over the past decade. I mean, hello, what's there not to be happy about? We've had 3 appearances. This is the best era of Eagles football in the Super Bowl era. With all due respect to Buddy Ryan, Reggie White, Randall Cunningham, Jerome Brown. Rest in peace to Jerome Brown and Reggie White. But, hey, with all due respect to those guys, but we never got to a Super Bowl in that era. Donovan McNabb, Andy Reid, with all due respect to them, we only got to 1 Super Bowl, lost that. We lost 4 other NFC Championship games outside that Super Bowl run. This current run, we've been to 3 Super Bowls and won 2 of the 3. So we've got 2 Super Bowl wins. 1 was satisfying enough, but 2 in a decade? Oh, that's awesome, man. How could you not be happy about that as Eagles fans? And now we're following it up by going back to the playoffs. Even if this hasn't been as great a season, even if there's some things as fans we're not happy with everything they've done this season. And I'm not a fan of everything they've done, but we're going back to the playoffs again. That's at least something to appreciate. I mean, I know I'm usually not the biggest fan of always comparing and contrasting, but as a fan, would you rather be a fan of the team that's fresh off a Super Bowl win going back to the playoffs? You've seen 2 wins in the past decade. Or would you rather be a fan of the team that kind of stays stuck as a one and done for a decade, like the Steelers have for the most part? Would you rather be a fan of the Eagles or currently? Would you rather be a fan of the Eagles or the Dallas Cowboys, a team living off past championships going over 30 years now? Would you rather be an Eagles fan or would you rather be a fan of the Washington Commanders, who, for people my age, we've never seen the Commanders win a Super Bowl because we weren't even born the last time they were in it. So yeah, I'm happy with it. And look, I'm sorry, no offense to some of those team fans, but point I'm getting at is for us as Eagles fans is, look, there's plenty to be happy about. Yes, there's some stuff to nitpick and critique, sure. There's always going to be in life no matter what. That's just a way of life. But I also think about, we could use this stream to acknowledge the good. Yes, we looked like we were starting to collapse, and the way we played against the Bears, I had my concerns too. Even some fans, fresh off the game, spur of the moment, thought, oh, we might not win another game. And when the Bears, I understand, Thanksgiving weekend, Saturday morning, when you're fresh off that, you're thinking to yourself, oh man, what the fuck? We really lost that game. But, and at the time, a lot of us as fans that were wondering, okay, are we going to collapse again? I had my doubts too, but, we haven't collapsed. Sure. Now, do I have some doubts about how we're going to play in the playoffs? Yes, I do. And to me, I try to be the fan I always want to be the realistic fan. I don't want to be the fan that just blatantly pretends that everything the Eagles do is super great. I'm not going to be that fan, but I'm not just going to be the grumpy grouch Grinch fan either. Sure, so I came on after the Chargers game, did the 3-point blitz with that Grinch shirt, with that shirt on, that ugly Christmas sweater. I kind of was messed around with it a little bit, but, in the grand scheme of things, hey, it's a fun, holy shit, it's another good see. It's a privilege to at least get to see him continue that streak, make the playoffs again, and I'm happy with it. So yes, cheers to the Philadelphia Eagles once again. I know it's a little dark, you can't really see that well, but cheers to the Eagles again. That's right, back-to-back NFC East, baby. That's right. So with that being said, man, I'll leave it at that. So Eagles took care of business, did what they needed to. Commanders down, bring on the Bills next. I'm looking forward to it. And I'll be back on Tuesday, noon, with the 3-Point Blitz episode 40. Be back at the regular Tuesday slot. Last week's Wednesday was just a one-off, so tune in for that. Be doing that on my channel, Hardcore Sports Network. We'll also be doing pick'ems on the Hardcore Sports Network, my co-host Agent Warrior X, Tuesday night. So that's what we got live coming up on Tuesday. I might drop a few YouTube shorts before then, so be on the lookout for that. Guys, thanks for tuning in, whether you caught all the stream or just a small portion of the stream. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Have a great rest of your night. Fly, Eagles, fly. Let's take some joy and some pride in winning the NFC East back-to-back years and snapping the long NFC East streak and showing that we still the kings of the NFC East. So with that being said, y'all, thanks for tuning in. Have a great Sunday night. It is your boy, Nicky Steve, signing off, and I'll catch you next time. Fly, Eagles, fly, baby. Peace.